Alright guys, and welcome back to F1 2015 career mode. It's time for round 11, part 11 of this F1 2015 season. Apologies for the delay between this episode and the last one. I thought, you know, while F1's on their summer holidays, I'll have a bit of a holiday myself from this game. It was getting a little bit tiresome, but we're back now. It's round 11, it's Belgium, the most iconic track possibly on the calendar. We have Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, as you can see from the championship there, ridiculously close to leading the championship at this stage, just after halfway through the season, as we're now looking at qualifying for Spa.
It's going to be a very exciting session today, but are we expecting the Mercedes to favour this track? Spa is always a difficult track to predict who will do well at, but after the last few years, it's been a mix of Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari drivers that have excelled.
Well, Ferrari have had 16 wins here over the years, but today I'd probably give the advantage to Red Bull. They're always able to pull off something special here.
So, moving to our first run of qualifying, you see the benchmark there from Rosberg of 49.3. So not expecting too much as we've been a bit rusty. It's been a couple of weeks since we last played this game. But driving to the line now, we're actually going to cross the line for a 48.5, which puts us massively on pole by quite a distance. So Rosberg currently second, but currently later into the session, right at the end now, coming towards the end of our second and final run. Hamilton now up into P2, our championship rival. We're still on P1 for now though. 48.5 is the current time. Driving to the line to try and improve it. So 48.3, improved by nearly a quarter of a second, and that is pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix in F1 2015 for Max Verstappen. Great result there. We needed that to try and take the championship battle to Hamilton. He's 2 points ahead. We need to capitalise on this track and see what we can do.
Wonderful result for Max Verstappen. His performance today has put him on pole for tomorrow's race.
It certainly was a qualifying lap to remember, but he'll be wanting to convert it into a race win tomorrow. I think after that performance, he's in with a great chance.
So as you can see there, on pole by just over half a second from the two Mercedes. So our first lap would have been good enough to give us pole, but we secured it there with the second lap as we're now going to be heading out onto the track. Sebastian Vettel down in 19th and with a penalty there, and Carlos Sainz without a qualifying time either down in 20th. Don't know what's happened there, but it's race time now for Spa.
Here in Spa. As the cars are being prepared, let's join them trackside for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, new to the world of Formula One. You wouldn't know it. Fastest in Q3 yesterday and on pole position today. He's taking it in his stride. This boy is quick.
It's certainly better for a driver to be out in front, as they're able to drive without having to contend with the dirty air and overheating caused by being sat behind another car.
Lewis Hamilton described the win last time out as one of the best of his career. With the strength of that Mercedes this season, he has the perfect tool at his disposal to get more race wins.
Well, we all know how good Lewis can be when his mind is in the right place. He can be really hard on himself though when things don't go his way, but when they do, he's pretty much unbeatable.
So there's your grid for the Spa-Francorchamps Grand Prix, the Belgian Grand Prix here in F1 2015. But we, Max Verstappen, are on pole position. We need to have a look at the race strategy. Obviously a long lap, a short number of laps, but still giving us a two-stop here. We're starting on options, another option stint, and then a prime stint to the end. 22 laps, estimated race time 41.27. We'll see how we compare to that at the end of the race. Not sure what to make of that. Never really paid attention to that before. It'll be interesting to see if we're actually faster or slower than what the estimated race time is going to be. But obviously we're going to have to make a bit of a strategy call on the fly here during the race. But for now, we've got to concentrate on the start. Red lights coming on now. Down to lead to try and maximise the traction as we wait for the 5 lights to go out. And we're away, and here we go. It's a half decent start by the looks of it, having to get the rear brake bias done. Hamilton jumping up into turn 1, but we're looking up the inside, almost losing the back end under braking with heavy fuel and cold tyres. But we're back through into first place. Hamilton behind, Bottas side by side with Rosberg. As we come towards Eau Rouge for the first time, we've got cars side by side. We lead the pack as we steam up the hill and over the top and climb up through the miles an hour here, up in 8th gear. Well over 200 miles an hour already. A bit of a gap already between the front two, myself and Hamilton, as we come down to the end of the first sector. Just covering the inside to make sure Hamilton doesn't try anything silly as we navigate our way through there for lap 1. We still hold on to the lead, which is important if we want to keep these Mercedes behind us. Moving on to lap 5 now. Nothing really interesting happening up until this point. But you can see, new to the game, for recording this episode at least, is the indicator there on the right hand side. As you see, the tyre wear not looking great as Hamilton gets as close as he's gotten so far this race with DRS active, looking around the outside. But we give him a bit of the old treatment from F1 2014 real life season. They're cutting him off as we turn through the left hand part there, and he's sensible enough to realise he's not going to make that move and backs out. Coming towards the end of lap 5 though, See, really losing the back end and struggling with the back end as the tyres are just going off. Getting on the power out of the final corner, trying to minimise the wheel spin, but Hamilton's got a much better run with that Mercedes power, Mercedes traction. Looking around the outside now, we're holding the inside. We're going to force him to go around the long way. We've got our braking spot on, and Hamilton's actually gone wide there, but it looks like in the wing mirror, and it looks like he's actually lost quite a few positions as Rosberg and Bottas are through. Here's the view from Rosberg. You can see ourselves and Hamilton side by side. Hamilton with a small lock-up, then runs very wide. Rosberg through, Bottas through, and he cuts across Massa, hitting the rear tyre of Bottas there. Hamilton down to P4 now as we cut to the end of lap 6, coming into the pit lane now for our first pit stop. The tyres are absolutely gone. Bottas continues, looks like Massa continuing as well, and it looks like both Mercedes once again coming into the pit lane. It's Rosberg actually ahead of Hamilton, so Mercedes not doing themselves any favours in terms of this race or their championship star at the moment. Hamilton, who's leading the championship, giving him second driver preference there and bringing him in on the same lap as his teammate, which has cost him a huge amount of time. You can see he's just now left the pit box. So 2.4 seconds for us, we're through. Looks like we're going to be joining quite a bit of traffic. There goes Ricciardo and Vettel, obviously starting from last place. Ericsson goes through as well. And Perez just about squeezing through as well as we come up to Eau Rouge. Tucking into the slipstream, sparks showering our face. Rich mixture slipstream, and we'll make an easy meet of Perez there as we get DRS as well. Ericsson up the road as well. We're going to look at going up the inside of him. Obviously cold tyres, we've got to make sure we get the braking right, we don't lock up and slide across the track. Looks like we just about got it right. Going through the left-hander, a little bit of contact. The hand goes up in frustration as Ericsson seems to crash into the side of us. I'm not too sure what to make of that. You see from Perez's view, side by side, we've left him a car's width of room. It looks like we've sort of turned in on him and he's understeered a bit wide into us, and that's caused him to spin. But we're going to carry on our way here later on in the lap. We've got Grosjean ahead, obviously on his very worn option tyres, ourselves on our nicely up to temperature fresh option tyres now. You can just see how much extra grip and speed we've got at this point in the race. Opening up this chicane to make sure we get on the power early, and then we're going to go around the outside of him towards the end of this second sector, making the move stick nicely. Grosjean doesn't fight it too hard as he knows that position is gone, there's no point fighting it, and through we go. Cutting on to a couple of laps later now, Vettel, who was ahead of us, has pitted. Most of the other drivers have pitted, but Ricciardo still out on his original set of option tyres, so he must be trying one stop or something. But you can see he is horrifically slow at this point in the race. We cruise around the outside of him here in the middle sector, really not putting up a fight, and he couldn't even if he wanted to. He's got absolutely no tyres left, and Rosberg now has a duty of trying to find a way past. Cutting a lap later now to lap 10, you can see some green flag things going on there, and on the minimap you can see a slow car coming up to Pouhon there. So we're going to go into the replay camera and see who that is and what's happened. But I suspect it's going to be, because there's Ricciardo as you can see, I suspect he's still out and hasn't pitted, so it can only be a puncher, I imagine. Riding aboard of Hamilton now, obviously way back compared to the leaders, coming around the corner of No Name, and there goes Ricciardo slowing down to a crawl. So something's happened to him. It looks like it could be a puncher. I imagine it will be on those very worn option tyres. You see now riding on board with the Red Bull man, coming around the corner, and if we just listen out for any pop, there it goes. Just as he comes towards the curb on the exit there, bang goes that right rear tyre. It's a right rear puncher for him, and he's got a long way back to the pit lane before he can get that fixed. So you can see from the external cameras coming down, sweeping in, and it's going to be just as he goes over that curb on the right, it pops and deflates, and that's his race pretty much over now. As we cut into the end of our second stint again, just leading ahead of Rosberg. Bottas carrying on again as they did in the first stint. Rosberg coming in behind us. He had closed the gap a little bit. We're really struggling with the rear tyre wear and getting the traction down compared to the Mercedes at these slower speed corners, which allowed him to close in quite a lot at the end of that second stint. But we still hold the lead for now with our final pit stop here. 2.3, it's an improvement on the first stop, so that's good, and we retain the position ahead of Rosberg. Looking on the mini-map, going for Triton, looks like we're coming out in a bit of traffic as we come out the pit lane. Cold prime tyres, nightmare to try and get the power down, and it's Ricciardo going past us, the man who's just had the puncture a few laps ago. As you can see now, pretty much being lapped by ourselves. Sparks in the face again as we climb through Eau Rouge, but we're going to pass him before we even get DRS open, which we now do, and that's an easy position as we lap Ricciardo there, so it's not really a preferred position anyway. A few laps later on, there's a bit of action going on between Bottas, Hamilton and Raikkonen for third place, and for some reason you can see there Bottas and Hamilton having a bit of a collision as they try to get past the Ricciardo Red Bull. See Bottas having a bit of a nightmare trying to decide where to go, and then for some reason just drives pretty much completely off the track and comes to a crawl, and that blocks Hamilton, and Raikkonen goes through to take third place. You can see there lap 17 Rosberg behind us and Raikkonen in third. As we lose the back end coming into the third sector, as the rear tyres really not liking these rear tyres. The prime tyres, we've never got on well with them, and as you can see here, Rosberg now going side by side as we come down to the back straight, or it's not really a straight, but the back kinks here as we come towards Blanchimont, and Rosberg just about having to back out of that one as he's not quite got enough straight line speed to take us on as we come to the braking zone, and he's not quite close enough to actually have a look into the bus stop chicane. So just about holding on to that, but we've got to be careful. This race is far from over and we can't afford to do too many mistakes like that as we now forward onto lap 20. Rosberg really turning up the temperature now in terms of pressure. Here he comes with DRS down the outside. Looks like he's got the car into a rich mixture with that straight line speed as he looks around the outside, just like he did to Hamilton in 2014, but he can't make the move stick and sensibly backs out of that move. And you see there Hamilton just moving up into P3 as well ahead of Raikkonen now, so he's up to P3. Rosberg though, again a lap later, trying the same move, and he's quite far. He's actually got ahead of us into the braking zone, but he's not quite brave enough compared to us on the brakes, and we retain that position once more. And we're just about holding on. The tyres going off, the prime tyres not giving off much grip anyway, as we're now on the final lap of the race. We're still leading this race 19-1 as Rosberg doing his best to get in front of us again at the end of the DRS straight. Furthest he got is even further ahead at that point than he was last lap, but again he can't quite make the move stick, and we just about managed to hold on for this time being, but we've got the rest of the lap to go. And you see the rear tyres really not happy, sliding the car out of these corners. Yellow flags up ahead as well. That's put us off. We've run wide at the hairpin. Rosberg not quite close enough to make any use of that, not quite close to taking advantage of that. We've got the marshals playing absolute mind games with the flags here. We've got green flags, yellow flags, green flags, yellow flags. They can't decide what they want to do. It's currently yellow flags, so there must be someone up ahead who's in a bit of trouble. It's now green flags again, even though there's cars up ahead going extremely slowly. The yellow flags back out. It's Bottas, who was in third place only a few laps ago. Stevens has now gone off the track as well, presumably with front wing damage. It's all kicking off as we try and make our way through this final corner. Sorry, not the final corner, the final lap, to get to the finish line, but it's all going off. We've got ourselves running wide, we've got Rosberg attacking, we've got yellow flags, we've got cars with punches, cars with no front wings. Why can't it just be simple in the world of F1? But here we go, down through the final sector, Rosberg in hot pursuit. That Mercedes power, the rich engine mixture, the slipstream from our Toro Rosso. He's closing ever so slightly as we come towards the braking zone, holding the middle of the track as we do, defending from Rosberg, making sure he can't come through, and we just got to make sure we get a good run out of the bus stop chicane and we can drive to the line to take another win this season. Very squirming towards the line, Rosberg coming through, but it's not enough, and that is P1 here for Max Verstappen. Another race win this season, valuable points gained over Hamilton, and the podium celebrations can begin. Raikkonen actually looking at getting ahead of Hamilton, so something's happened to Hamilton in the end part of that race which allowed Raikkonen to get back through, so Hamilton not on the podium, and that is the former championship leader Lewis Hamilton not on the podium, because your new championship leader is standing there on the top side of the podium now, spraying the champagne, dressed in the Toro Rosso overalls. It's Max Verstappen. We have taken the championship lead at this stage of the season. That is incredible. I don't think anyone saw that coming, let alone Max Verstappen himself. We see he's a happy bunny, and why not? You see he's won the race there, 41.34, as Crofty goes through the end of race stuff of Davidson. Go on then, boys.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye.
No, brilliant. Okay, well there you go, 41.34. I can't remember what it said on the beginning of the race. I thought it was at 41.37 or something. So not too far off. Comfortable win in the end. Rosberg actually having a podium and a penalty, and only just finishing ahead of Raikkonen there. Multiple penalties throughout the grid here. Not sure what's happened with there, but there is the championship standings. Max Verstappen takes the lead over from Lewis Hamilton by 4 points after the Belgian Grand Prix, and that is absolutely mega. Next time out, it's going to be Monza. Obviously, Toro Rosso with many fond memories of that racetrack, and obviously we'll be looking at giving another strong result for the Toro Rosso team. But that is it for now, so I hope to see you again next time. Thank you for watching this episode, and I'll see you guys again later.